In terms of sartorial elegance, it never gets any better than this man who does join us now. Ross, it's really good to see you. What an astonishing turnaround in your year. We know all about the astonishing turnaround in your life just a short while back, but from doubles player with delightful Colin Fleming, who's wandering around with Charlie at the moment, then on to tournament organiser of Queen's Club this year, and now you are looking after the players' interests on the ATP Tour.
Yes, thank you, Rob. You've set me up rather well there. No, I'm very lucky to be working for the organisation of the ATP. You know, they run men's tennis and a fantastic history in the sport. And it's a very different role, but I think I've equipped myself well from being a player and understanding the game from a player's side, and now from being a tournament director at the Aegon Championships to then now being here and back at the Barclays World Tour Finals. It's incredible to be back at what is, from the ATP's point of view, the pinnacle event of our tour, the place that everyone wants to come, and it's just a joy to be able to be here and to be part of this event from a management staff now, and to be able to watch from the side and admire, as we all have done and should do, appreciate people in its finest.
It's so interesting to hear you say that, because, I mean, how old are you now?
29.
29, yeah. You're not even 30, but you've given up the game of tennis as a player, and you say how much you love sitting behind a desk, Ross. Come on, surely not.
Well, if you'd offered me this job full-time, Rob, to have to sit on the sofa with these guys, then maybe I wouldn't have done it. But no, it's a great opportunity. You know, I've always tried to do business alongside playing tennis over the last 4 or 5 years, whether it's with a clothing brand or whether it was with different projects that I've run or charity events. So I've always enjoyed that side of the sport, and I'm fortunate that I'm able to stay in our great sport. I think all of us, from Arv and Miles and yourself, Rob, we have huge appreciation of tennis in general, and we would like to stay in the sport if we can in every way possible. And for myself, being able to link the business side with the tour and staying in tennis so we can really appreciate it is actually my dream goal, and hopefully long may it last.
Are you surprised how, this is an awkward question for you to answer honestly, but how good you are at it? How good at it you are, and I know you are because I've been talking to Chris Kermode.
Well, thank you very much for starters. I don't know, it comes quite naturally in terms of I don't try and complicate things in my mind. I see tennis as a very simple sport, which is one of the best sports in the world, and it's something that I feel very passionately about, and I'll try and do that with the players division. We look after educating the players, servicing the players, the benefits, the pensions, the finance, the rankings, the draws. There's a lot of aspects to it, but it all comes under one bracket of what's best for the players and what's best for the overall tour. And you know, when I go for dinner with Arv and Miles, you know, regularly, we will talk about tennis in such a way that we'll just shoot ideas around. In the end, it always comes back to the basic idea of how good men's tennis is and how we want to grow it and how we can grow it from the challenger level to the ATP World Tour level. So generally, tennis is in our blood, and we'll talk about it for hours and hours if there was no time limit, and we love it, and I'm sure that's what you've been doing this week to great effect. So that's ultimately, we love it, and as I say, we feel very fortunate to be able to continue post-tennis, post-playing tennis, into staying in the tennis career.
So come on then, Ross, tell me, how difficult is it dealing with players? Because they can be an awkward bunch, can't they? Very demanding.
Yeah, they are, but I'm sure we were when we were playing as well, so I can't be too critical. But no, you know, I think dealing with professional sportsmen in general is tricky. We have to respect that they have demands, and we want to make them have the best product on the court. That's the ultimate aim for us. They have to perform well, they have to feel comfortable, they have to feel like they're being represented to great effect. They want simplicity, yet not to be undercooked in any department, whether it's financial or publicity, marketing, sponsorship, commercial, or products that we're actually using, the balls, the rackets, the clothes. There's so many aspects for a player to look into, and it's up to us to be able to manage it on the side, whether from a coaching front, which I know you've both been a coach in the past, from the media front, how we promote tennis, or from the office front, which is now my role. So they are very demanding, and there are issues and requests that you think sometimes, really, should you be asking for that? Yeah. But ultimately, it's our job to provide it. So
in a way, you're almost a politician as well, because you keep,
absolutely,
of course, the players happy, and you're also relaying that message from the sponsors for everyone that's involved in this tournament and across the tour, across the world. You're trying to give and take a little more.
100%.
Normal.
You know, from the ATP, you have to look at it as the tournaments and the players, and it's the link between the tournament directors and the players, the commercial department and the players, and I solely look after the players as my bracket, but I want to involve them in other aspects of tennis worldwide and generally. So, you know, we reach out to 30 different countries. We have 65 tournaments on the ATP World Tour. There's a vast reach throughout the whole year, which is quite abnormal in terms of sports. You know, normally it's quite short. Like a football season, there's an off season. An NBA season in America, there's an off season. In tennis, it's pretty 11 months across the board. You know, look, we're in the middle of November here and we're still going. So there's not much time. So we have to manage the players and keep them fit and do everything and breach the gap between the different entities in tennis.
You're still managing your fitness too, aren't you? And we know that you still get out on court and hit with the likes of Tim Henman this morning, for example, Ross.
Well, yes. One thing I guaranteed was that once I... Gosh, look at that. once I stopped playing...
Now we can see why he's sitting on the couch.
Well, it looks better than actually I thought I was playing. As you see, I was frustrated this morning talking to myself. But no, when I stopped playing tennis, I said, right, I'm going to stay in shape, I'm going to make sure I play a lot. And in all honesty, this is the third time I've hit in 2.5 months.
Oh.
The second time I hit was a couple of days ago, and that was ugly, and Tim gave me an absolute beating. And today, he gave me a beating, but not as badly as it was the other day. So gradually it's getting better, but I still enjoy it, and you know, I'll be dragging these two out beside me soon.
Well, quite right too. But Miles, don't you think he's given up on the game in terms of playing far too soon?
Well, I think if you don't, I mean, you yourself, I mean, you loved it, but there were injury issues in that, right? That was a big part of it, and I think you know, wherever Ross goes to, it's going to be a gain for them and a loss to the people he's leaving behind. But I do wonder. I mean, you were an alternate a couple of years ago here. How tough is it seeing, you know, because I think any player, once they see out, they'd love to be out there. How hard have you found leaving the playing behind?
In all honesty, I haven't struggled that much because I know that my level this year wasn't at the highest level. If I was leaving the game behind when, for example, as you say, in 2012, I was one out from playing here and I was feeling like my level was good enough to compete with these players in front of this incredible atmosphere. But this year my level has been far worse, and I haven't felt like I was deserved to be on that court, so I actually haven't felt the desperation to be out there. But generally when you watch...
That's because you've been sitting behind a desk, Ross.
Quite possibly, but but generally when you watch tennis and you're a past player, we want to go out there, whether it's just us playing up to 11s out the hand on that court, or whether it's me playing with Tim this morning on the court. It is really exciting to be out there in front of nobody in this incredible stadium, but it is fantastic to be able to play. So I do miss it, but ultimately I realised my level wasn't good enough this year to be competing with these guys, and therefore I don't deserve to be out on that court this year.
But along with your long-time playing partner Colin Fleming and the team as a whole, I mean, look where you got Great Britain back into the World Group of Davis Cup, still there, fighting for a big place again next year. You're going to miss that terribly, aren't you?
I will. That's one of the special parts of being a professional tennis player. Davis Cup matches, and we've all played Davis Cup matches. It is probably the most special week of the year or a few weeks of the year because it's such a team atmosphere with your closest friends. It's, you know, it's nation against nation. It's you're fighting sweat and blood to try and win that rubber for your team. We've been through tough times where I was in Lithuania when we lost to Lithuania. I was in the difficult times when we were losing all those matches, and it was tough, and we were down in the doldrums, but we reacted well, and with some great results from the whole team. I think everyone had their input, from Andy to Colin. Colin's got a great record. From myself, I've won a few matches, and the management also of the Davis Cup team. It's been a long way back, and you know, it's that big match again against the USA, and
absolutely.
up in Glasgow, it's going to be fascinating.
If you had to say pick one or two memories from your playing career, the top two?
Geez, good question. I think quarterfinals of Wimbledon was fantastic. And then actually being up in the 5th set from 2 sets to love down, that was a bit of a negative, but playing in the courts of Wimbledon, that was great. And I'd also say playing the last few Davis Cup matches and winning individually our ties, which helped us win the match. Also, probably the last 3 matches was also really, really special. So tying in Davis Cup and courts of what was a favourite meaningful event to me at Wimbledon.
Yeah, a few things going on while you were talking there. We saw Charlie having a selfie with Novak just now in the corridor, which is rather impressive. And of course, there along with Charlie is Colin. Fortunately, he can't hear you. So, what do you think of Colin Fleming these days?
Well, where do I start? No, you know, Colin and I are very close. He's one of my best friends. I feel very fortunate to have had him as my partner over the last 4 years. He was instrumental in being with me when I was unwell, and before that we had some success, and this year we've enjoyed ourselves on the court. We'd have loved to have more success, but unfortunately we weren't playing to the same level, and that's just openly. I wasn't playing to anywhere near the same level as I was. Colin, therefore, his level maybe dropped a little because he was trying to carry me so much.
Nonsense.
But generally, we've got a fantastic relationship. I think he's an outstanding player, and we benefited from playing with each other. We complemented each other in our games. We travelled as very close friends. We shared rooms, and we speak most days still. And he'll have a long old career without me, that's for sure. I won't be able to stop him anymore.
I think the other thing that we've noticed just recently about Colin as well, I wish he could join in this conversation, but I don't think he can hear us, is that we've noticed he's just taken on a little pocket square there, and a few little, little badges. He seems to be very much trying to follow in your footsteps, Ross, as a mannequin.
We're sharing a room this week because we haven't seen each other very much recently, so I actually saw him rummaging through my jackets yesterday, and I saw him, he's trying a few on, and I'm thinking, are you expecting to be taking them? And he actually wore one of my jackets yesterday, so I'm not sure what he's wearing today. He might have nicked another one.
It was very baggy on him. Didn't fit at all.
So we'll see what he's wearing today, but generally he's a very stylish boy. He's a good-looking chap, if I do say so myself, and hopefully, his family's going to be growing in the next couple of months, so that's fantastic.
Indeed, as is yours, Ross. We have to wish you the very best of luck and congratulations. Next weekend, you and Lindsay tie the knot.
Yeah, my two friends here are going to be there, which is fantastic. We're looking forward to it very much.
There was a big groan from the ladies out in the crowd, wasn't it?
Officially off the market.
Yeah, so Lindsay's very unpopular with the female population around here, isn't she?
Well, I don't know about that, but we're going to have a great day. So it's going to be a fantastic, something that we've been looking forward to for a long time. And we absolutely can't wait to have that day and spend it with the people that's closest to us. So we can't wait.
Great, so Ross, we all wish you the very, very best of luck, and I hope it's the most stunning day for you. Well done.
Thanks, Rob.
Great to have you on the sofa again. Sorry it's so brief. Thank you, Ross.